Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to STEM Quest 2.0. Am I audible? Just making sure.
Yes, Zainab,
Okay.
you're audible.
Okay, perfect. So I am Zainab Waqass, your host for today, and this session won't be very long like the other ones, but today we will be exploring a really exciting concept that sits at the intersection of sustainability, science, design, and business, which is bio inspired design and eco resorts and attractions. And before we begin, obviously, I would like to specifically thank the Youth STEM Initiative as well as MedExplorer for this platform. Now, while we're here, I would like to share a little about me very quickly, a small introduction, if I may. I am a business administration student at AUROC, but my interests go far beyond just spreadsheets and textbooks. And I'm someone who loves looking at the world a little differently, especially when it comes to sustainability, innovation, and also how businesses can drive meaningful change. Now, that is where you must be wondering why I chose this topic in particular. And to be honest, it is because I believe that nature in itself holds so many answers to so many challenges that we face today. And as we know, sustainability is extremely crucial. That is why this topic is very special to me. Because it's not just about building better, but it's also about building smarter. Um, Now, let me quickly just let's do an icebreaker because I don't want to keep things formal over here. So imagine that you are on a vacation. Would you rather stay in a seashell-shaped resort underwater or a treehouse lodge in the jungle? So you can just quickly type your pick in the chat, and bonus points for those who explain why they chose their choice. Okay. Okay, unreasonable fear of fish. Okay, that's valid. I'm scared of the water too, so okay, great choices. I see how there's both options, and they hint to some sort of fears or abilities that you would have if you would be in a jungle or underwater. And you see how, regardless of whatever your answers are, there is still some connection to nature, and that is exactly what we are exploring today. So I'll quickly get into the topic, and let's be direct. What is bio-inspired design? So bio-inspired design, or it's also known as biomimicry in easy terms, it is basically the idea or the practice of learning and then copying nature solutions to solve human problems and challenges that we face today. So that is where we treat nature as a master engineer. So you think about it. Nature has had 3.8 billion years to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what lasts. And it's simply just centuries of trial and error. Now, animals, plants, and natural systems, they have evolved to survive under extreme conditions using efficient and sustainable methods. So instead of reinventing the wheel and creating new designs from scratch, with the lack of time and raising environmental issues that we have we have at hand, I feel like it's a ticking bomb. So we can look at designs that have stood the test of time and then apply those solutions to architecture, engineering, robotics, fashion, and even tourism, which our topic is specifying it. And just so you know, biomimicry, it actually starts with observation. For example, let me ask you, why does a lotus leaf repel water? Why do shark skins reduce drag? Or how do termites manage airflow without AC? And just like this, one of the earliest and classic examples that I can give you is Velcro. So there was this, it's a little story time. There was this Swiss inventor called George de Mestral. He once went out for this hike and he saw burrs that were stuck to his dog's fur. And he decided to look at them under a microscope and he saw tiny hooks that were latched into loops. And that is how he discovered the hook and loop mechanism, and the idea of Velcro was born. So that's basically an introduction to what exactly, sorry, bio-inspired design is. But why exactly does tourism need bio-inspired design, right? So I'm not sure if you know, but tourism nowadays is a massive industry and it contributes to 10% of the global GDP, which is a very high percentage. But unfortunately, it also comes with a very heavy environmental cost, where it accounts for around 8 to 10% of carbon dioxide emissions. Now, if you see traditional resorts, hotels, and attractions, um, I don't want to name names in particular, but maybe we can go by the very famous one. You have Rove Hotels, you have Doubletree, Hilton, all that, right? Now, they are traditional resorts and hotels, or even attractions, you may say. They use tons of water and energy, be that for air conditioning, or be that for water heating, be that for transportation, you name it, right? So, many resorts, by the way, they're even built by clearing forests or disrupting local habitats. That in turn leads to biodiversity loss. Now, let's flip the page and imagine hotels that are with lights and AC running 24/7, and they're landscape grounds in fragile ecosystems, and they have massive food and waste systems. That is what is going on nowadays. But to change that, that is where bio-inspired design comes in. So it will allow us to build structures that work with nature instead of against it. It also offers a sort of better alternative, because these designs, they use less energy, they also minimize material waste and end up creating environments wherein people feel more relaxed and connected to the natural world. So in short, bio-inspired design is not only better for the planet, but it is also very emotionally rewarding for the visitors. I mean, it's going to be a place that's built with nature that can make a visitor feel like a part of the ecosystem, not separate from it. And if you're someone who has traveled and if you've been to resorts and hotels and all that sort of stuff, you will feel more connected and more at peace when you're in a place that is more sustainable. For example, if there are students here that are from Dubai, I mean UAE, and you visited um, the Expo 2020. So you see how it just had a complete different aura to it. And that's something you won't find in a very fast life that people live usually in the city. Well, let's move on and see where actually bio-inspired design is applied, because it's not just all talk, right? And here I will introduce you to one of the most fascinating examples of bio-inspired architecture. It's called the Eastgate Center in Zimbabwe. And this building that you see in the picture, it does not use any traditional air conditioning. However, it still ends up maintaining comfortable internal climate. Now, what's the secret? Termites, the insect, yes. So I know it's kind of weird, but once I explain it to you, you're going to catch it. This building, this design, it was actually designed by the architect Mick Pierce. He carefully studied how termites build mounds, which are like a tiny hill that you can see in the picture. It's where termites live, feed, reproduce, and all of that. And there are a lot of termite mounds in um, Africa because of their hot climate. Uh, and inside a termite mound, the temperature always stays constant, even if it's 35 degrees Celsius outside. And why does that happen? That happens because of this natural ventilation system. So, what termites do is that they create tunnels and air pockets that allow hot air to rise and escape from central chimneys, which is something that you can also see. I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, but this red area, you can see how there is a chimney, and then there are ventilation systems, which are the arrows that are pointing upwards. Now, um, this also causes the cooler air to be drawn up from the cloud, which is the blue area over here. And you can see the arrows that specify how the air is moving upwards. The cool air is moving upwards. This process, it helps in achieving remarkable thermal stability. Now, what Mick Pierce did was that he mimicked this exact strategy in designing the Eastgate Center. And what was the result? It used 90% less energy for climate control than similar buildings. And if you're not telling me that it's a success, then I really don't know what to take this as. This idea, I think, can easily be applied to eco resorts, be that in deserts or tropical climates, because that's where it mostly is hot around the equator. And this will in turn end up reducing operational cost as well as the environmental impact. So, if I simply put it, it is elegant, innovative, scalable, impactful. Yeah. But that's not just the only one. There are also many other stunning eco resorts and attractions that have embraced bio-inspired design. So first of all, we have the Nautilus Eco Resort. It is in Philippines, and it is this conceptual design which is inspired by coral formations. This one is specifically by a seashell. There are many buildings, but I didn't have space in the slides, so I couldn't attach all of them. But if you're interested in it, obviously do search it up. Now, this eco resort, it is built with very curved surfaces, as you can see in the picture as well. And why is that? It is to reduce drag from wind and water. And also, the eco resort also has these spiral coral formations or seashell formations, which are designed to float on water. And how is that advantageous? Is that it reduces land impact and it also maximizes resilience. And next up, we have the Eden Project. This is in the UK, and it features massive glass domes or geodesic bubble domes that are inspired by the structure of pollen grains or soap bubbles. And these domes, their shapes are efficient, they're lightweight, they are incredibly strong. You can see how it's not just a complete semicircle, it has hexagons in it. That is what makes it strong. And again, it is a brilliant example of structural biomimicry. And then lastly, we have in Thailand the treehouse villas, which were inspired by bird nests. Now, they are what makes them special is that they are built in the forest canopy, and they don't cut down trees and rely on elevation for natural ventilation. So these designs, they're not just cool to look at, but obviously they actually perform better by using natural airflow. You have sunlight and materials even to create efficient and comfortable spaces with lower carbon footprints. Moving on, we have the STEM behind it. So, why exactly do you think I incorporated this topic in it? Because I think that it has a lot of potential, really. So, bio inspired design, if you see, it is deeply rooted in STEM, and it's a point where science meets creativity. For example, if we go towards biology, so biology is at the heart, obviously, wherein we understand how plants survive in deserts, how animals build, or how even ecosystems manage resources, something that allows us to be it actually motivates us and allows us to replicate it, right? And then we have our engineering, which turns our natural strategies based on our biology into usable forms. For example, engineers nowadays, they are studying shark skin to design drag reducing surfaces for boats, or we have swimsuits. And then when we come to the tech part, we have CAD, which is computer aided design, or we have 3D printing. I don't know how many of you all attended yesterday's session, hopefully all of you, but we did learn about 3D bioprinting. It was an amazing session. And then we also have AI simulations, which nowadays comes in the form of VR. All of these things, uh, and sorry, okay, all of these things, including AI based airflow simulations, things like that, we can help um, take ideas from them and apply them actually, and prototype and test our products. Now, lastly, we have math, obviously, that helps us to calculate everything. It can be something minute, from the angle of a leaf to maximize solar exposure, to the pressure, to how the pressure distributes in a dome inspired by a seashell. And by the way, guys, if you are interested in any STEM field, you can contribute to biomimicry very easily. It's not something that's very complex. It's actually just about learning from nature and solving human problems. Now, if this is something that you're really interested in, if this field excites you, there is a great news that it is not just limited to a single profession. I mean, maybe some of you might want to consider it later on. I definitely do. For example, you can become a biodesign researcher who studies the natural system. So you are mostly towards the biology side of it. Or you can become a sustainable architect who builds climate conscious resorts. Now, I have not done architecture, but if I did, I would definitely go in this field. Um, or maybe let's say that if you are towards business, so you can also be a biomimicry consultant. Now you can be that for different firms. You can be a biomimicry consultant for fashion brands or tourism firms. Now there are also hybrid roles where science meets business, art, or even marketing, something completely I am into. For example, there are companies like Biomimicry 3.8, and they hire creatives to design for both nature as well as for profit. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you more with it. Um, let's move on to the next slide, where we see the business and the marketing angle. Because come on, I'm a business student. There's no way you are escaping this presentation without having a business aspect to it, right? Let's talk business. And honestly, let's face it, if sustainability does not make financial sense, many companies will not even come close to adopting it. And I think if something does not make financial sense to us, normal people, as consumers, we will not come close to even adopting it either. Now, the good news is that ecotourism is booming. And in many parts of the world, it is growing 20 to 25% faster than traditional tourism. In fact, research shows that travelers, especially Gen Z and millennials, are willing to pay 20 to 40% more for eco friendly accommodation. This graph that you see, it's from booking.com. And it's actually a graph of how many people have paid for eco resorts or sustainable hotels. And as you see, it has been growing. Well, between 20 to 20, 21 to 22, there was a decrease. And I think that had something to do with COVID. Uh, no, wait, I think. I'm not sure though. But uh, there was there were some implications. However, at a larger scale, it has been increasing, and that is because of how us as a generation have started to take things like climate change and uh, global warming, greenhouse effect, and our impact on the environment more seriously. And that's when I tell you, bio inspired design is honestly not just sustainable, it's excellent branding. So, for example, let's say you see an advertisement on your Instagram, uh, and it says, oh, like a lotus inspired floating sanctuary. What is it going to do? It's going to create a very emotional value with you as a viewer. And it's also going to have their USP, which is a unique selling point that stands out in the market. Because how often do you see a lotus inspired floating sanctuary? You don't, right? Furthermore, when it comes to the aspect of business, there are so many green certifications. You have LEED, you have Earth Check, you have Green Key. All of these, they boost your visibility on booking platforms, and they also attract conscious consumers. So think of it as your certifications on LinkedIn. These work the same way for eco resorts or sustainable hotels. And these designs, they further open doors for collaboration between scientists, be that designers and marketers. And we can also create exciting interdisciplinary projects when it comes to this. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Um, I'll make it very clear and concise. And I think this whole presentation has been very concise because that's what I aim to do. Introduce an idea to you, explain how things work. And I didn't want you to think of I actually wanted you to I wanted to leave with you an idea that you can ponder on more by yourself. Obviously, but though if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And over here, let's zoom out for a second. Traditional tourism has been very resource heavy. You've seen big um, companies that have gone to rags because of how badly they failed, because how expensive their operational costs get. But what is the future? Is it going to, do you really think it's going to carry on being this way? I mean, like, we're progressing in a world, um, but why should we, stand back when it comes to tourism? uh, and that's where I tell you, this future that we have, it is rooted in bio inspired design. And by the way, again and again, it's not just hotels, it's not just resorts, it's everything. And it's not just about making things look natural, that, oh, this looks like a seashell, no, it's about learning from nature's intelligence and to build better solutions for people and for the planet. Now, why do I stress on this? Because this approach has four very big advantages. And what are they? Number one, it massively reduces carbon emissions, which is very harmful for the atmosphere. Number two, saves money, win win. And number three is that it creates an emotional space that people remember. And lastly, it also provides amazing opportunities for innovation, career, and business growth. So, in a world that is facing climate changes, bio design is like a roadmap to a more balanced and inspiring future. And I will also give you guys the opportunity to take action with your imagination. Um, and a quest will be attached to this presentation, which I'm sure Abir will pitch in with you guys on your Google Classroom. I'll give you a small insight of it. Um, so basically, you will have to design an eco lodge of your choice in a specific natural system. You can choose whatever you want. I will give you the freedom to do that. So you can choose a rainforest, tundra, desert, grassland, whatever you prefer. But the more creative, the better it is. And what I want you to do is figure out what are some bio inspired features that your resort is going to have that will set it apart from others. However, there is a condition to it that there should not be excessive use of electricity, and it should be a sustainable form of tourism. I know it sounds fun, And honestly, I am really looking forward to seeing what all ideas you have in mind. And now, I am open to any and all questions that anyone has. Do you guys have any questions? Please feel free to type it down in the chat. Anything. Okay, Ramin. Well, honestly, it's a very vast topic if you come to that. Because sustainable tourism, it's not just environmentally reasonable, but it's increasingly profitable, even so more than standard tourism, especially if you view this through like long-term lenses. For example, there are some things that us as customers or consumers don't notice that much, but guest loyalty, operational efficiency, and brand value is very profitable when it comes to um, tourism, right? So, why that happens is because when it comes to ecotourism or sustainable tourism, you have a lot of eco-conscious travelers. And as I mentioned, nowadays people pay more for sustainable experiences. So that's where premium pricing comes in. And number two, in the long run, you have lower operational costs because your buildings, they're going to be very energy efficient. So ultimately your bills are going to be reduced by 30 to 90%. And again, you can also have water efficient system, so you reduce your reliance on expensive, let's say, tanked or filtered water, especially if it comes to islands or desert resorts. And number three is that it gives you the ability to build a stronger brand and end up having repeat customers. So this way, the eco resorts, they build a very strong emotional connection, and travelers, the idea of the hotel sticks by them, like, oh, this was something I went to, it was very unique, and that ends up boosting their organic marketing, which is why there is a very high guest satisfaction rate, and people want to stay longer. So your idea basically gets future proofed, and you're also regulating sustainability at the same time, and it ends up being more profitable. And I hope that answered your question. No worries. Does anyone have any other questions? I hope my presentation was clear enough. um, But obviously, if you guys are more interested in it, I am very more than welcome actually, and I will put down in the chat my email if you want to reach out for anything. Also, I have added a QR code if you guys want to connect on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for joining today's session. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you felt inspired and you realized